I'm just waking up in the morning, but yesterday I went and bought a whole bunch of wood to build some new garden beds. I'm walking out into my backyard to show you the garden that I've used the past couple years, and I've never had too much luck with it. You'll see I live in a pretty wooded area. When all the leaves come in on the trees, it's going to be really hard for a lot of plants to grow back here. I do still have my garden, and I've done some research to try to grow some things that work well in shaded conditions. So you can see I do still have some things growing. Some broccoli, I have some kale planted, some spinach. I even planted some green beans in the middle. But this video is not about this garden. This video is going to be how to build a raised bed, a raised garden bed. I'm going to get out all my materials and get started. In the description of this video, you can find all the materials that I used in this to make this garden bed. You will need a pencil. I'm using my kid's snowman pencil because I can't find my woodworking pencil. You need your lumber, which is green treated, 1 by 6 by 8 feet long, so that's 1 inch wide, 6 inches tall, and 8 feet long. I got 2 of those, and we'll use about 1.5 for a planter, and I got to still get my dimensions from the planter that I've already built in the front yard. You'll need a drill, a tape measure, a straight edge. I'm using a Kreg Jig to make some pocket holes, but you wouldn't necessarily have to do that, and I'll show you how to use the Kreg Jig as well as your other option there if you don't have one. But the last thing is some kind of a saw. You can use a chop saw. I'm going to use a circular saw, or you could use a table saw or something like that as well, but just to make a pretty straightforward cut in the board. Okay, that's it. Alright, I'm using my sawhorses just for this video. You wouldn't necessarily have to use sawhorses. Sometimes I put boards between my trash cans and cut them there or on the ground. Okay, the first thing we need to do is figure out our dimensions, which I just did and wrote them down on my phone so I wouldn't forget. It's 48 inches by 29 inches, so I'm going to need 2 pieces that are 48 inches long and 2 pieces that are 29 inches long to complete the box. Okay, I'm going to do the 48-inch long ones first. When I measure out my boards, I usually like to measure from one side of the board as well as the other side of the board to make sure that I get a straight line. So I measure 48 inches on the top side of the board and on the bottom side of the board and mark it off. And then I'll take my straight edge and connect the dots. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and make a cut. Okay, there's my first long piece. I'm now going to take my 48-inch piece, stack it on top of my board that I already have, to measure out my second cut. That way I know that the pieces are exactly the same. Okay, I'll make that cut. Okay. Two pieces, they're exactly the same size. Now, I'll do my 29-inch pieces the same way. Okay, now we have all of our pieces cut. I'll show you how to use the Kreg Jig. Let me just show you. I got this Kreg Jig for Christmas last year, actually. My dad bought it for me. It comes with a clamp. It comes with the jig with two. Well, and there's a couple different types, but I got the smaller version of it. It comes with the jig itself, which mine has 2 holes in it. There's a drill bit. There's a screwdriver bit. A Phillips head for tightening and loosening the stop on the drill bit, which I've already adjusted, and then it comes with a bag of some screws, and then you're able to purchase extra screws separate from the jig if you'd like. So, and again, I'll put this all down in the description for anybody who might be interested in buying one. Okay, so the first thing that you do with the Kreg Jig is set it in the spot where you want your holes to be drilled. I want my pocket holes to be drilled on the long pieces, and they'll drill into the side of the short pieces of my box. So what I'll do is I'll just take the Kreg Jig and position it on my board and clamp it on. You can adjust for different thicknesses of wood as well. Alright, and I actually got my Kreg Jig. The stop was set to the perfect spot already, but you can adjust it for, you know, if the hole doesn't come out of the center of the piece of wood that you're working on. So if you have a different thickness of wood, you can adjust that so that it can either go further in or a little bit less. But again, mine is set up perfectly right now for the job that we're doing. Alright, so you put that in there, and you simply just drill into the jig, and it'll make the perfect pocket hole in your piece of wood. And I'll move the jig to the other side and create another one. And I'm just kind of eyeballing the position here. If you wanted to get real precise, you could measure it. Okay, so here's the Kreg Jig. That's what it looks like from this angle. And I just drilled straight into this hole here. So I'll release the clamp, and you can see we have a couple pocket holes in the side here. I don't know if you can see on this side, but actually the holes came out a little high, so I should adjust that stop. And you can just play with that on a scrap piece of wood. I'm actually not going to worry about it. I have enough meat on this board that I'm going to go ahead and just go with this for today. I'll do the rest of the boards, and then I'll drill them together. There you go. Screw them together, rather. to screw the boards together to complete the box. You can measure out your different screw sizes, which I've already done. These are 1.5 inch size screws. I actually should be using decking screws or outdoor screws, but I'm hoping that the pocket holes kind of hide these from the weather a little bit so that they don't rust out too early. So what you'll do is take your wood and just make a 90-degree angle like that. And you can either hold these really tight together, or you can try to clamp them together. But I don't really have a good clamp for this, so I will just try to hold them and screw it in. The pocket holes will help because you can kind of just get the screw started and use your hand. Instead of holding the screw, you can use your hands to hold the board. All right, here we go. One, I'm being careful not to drill too far so as to not split the wood. But I am getting it tight. Okay, there's one side. I'm going to do the same on the other side, and then put the long piece in the middle to finish up the planter. As you know, I'm using pocket holes to secure these screws. If you do not have a Kreg Jig or know how to do pocket holes, you can simply take your drill, a normal screw, and a normal Phillips head or flathead bit, whatever kind of screw you have, and just drill screws in from this side so it goes through both pieces of wood, still making a nice 90-degree angle. I like this a little bit better because it keeps those screws out of the weather a little bit more, and it looks a little bit nicer. But totally doable without the Kreg Jig. Okay, I'm going to put the last piece on. Never leave a bag of screws in your driveway unless you like flat tires. Okay. And there's a completed planter box. I'm going to make 2 more of those, I think, maybe just 1 more, and then put them in my yard. There it is. Set it in the yard like this, put some dirt in there, and you have a planter. Alright, I took a little break, now I'm coming back to finish up the 2 more planters, and I'll just put that all on the video too, so you can see everything that I do. Alright, now I've finished all the boxes. I have 3 here. I'm going to take them out into my front yard and place them where they're going to be. Alright, so the last thing that I have to do is fill my planters with dirt. But since I've completed building them, I wanted to say if you liked this video, please click the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. And hit that notification bell next to the subscribe button if you want to see when I post any new videos. I'm going to go ahead and fill my planters with dirt and even plant them, and I'm going to keep the camera going for all of that. So please continue watching if you'd like. And I hope you found this informational. Thanks for watching.